village, there lived a boy named Arjun. From a young age, Arjun was known for his intelligence and sharp mind. He excelled in his studies and quickly became one of the top students in his school. His teachers admired his quick thinking, his friends looked up to him, and the villagers believed he was destined for a bright future. Whenever there was a test or a quiz, Arjun performed brilliantly, further raising everyone's expectations. However, despite his natural talent, Arjun had a serious flaw. He didn't know how to use his time wisely. Instead of focusing on his studies or personal growth, he spent most of his time playing with friends, getting lost in mobile games, and engaging in idle, meaningless conversations. He was easily distracted and rarely paid attention to how quickly the hours of each day slipped away. His parents were deeply concerned. Time and again, they tried to make Arjun understand how precious time is. They patiently explained that time, once lost, can never be regained. They urged him to think about his future and use his abilities wisely. But Arjun didn't listen. He believed there was always more time. In his mind, everything could be done later. His favorite thought was, "Let me enjoy life now. I'll study and work hard later." This carefree attitude slowly began to take a toll on Arjun's progress. Unaware, he was drifting further from his potential. What he failed to understand was that intelligence alone isn't enough. Success also requires discipline, responsibility, and above all, wise use of time. Little did he know that this mindset would soon lead to unexpected consequences. The day of the annual exam results arrived, and for the first time, Arjun's performance was shockingly poor. He had scored far below average, far worse than what anyone expected from a student once praised for his brilliance. His teachers, who used to admire his intelligence, were now visibly disappointed. They wondered what had gone wrong. Even his classmates, who once looked up to him, began to distance themselves. The change was painful for Arjun. When Arjun returned home, he found his parents silently looking at his report card. The sadness and disappointment in their eyes struck him deeply. They didn't scold him. They didn't need to. Their silence spoke louder than words. Arjun felt a wave of regret and shame. For the first time, he realized that his actions had real consequences. He felt angry at himself, but more than that, he felt helpless. He didn't know how to break free from his old habits. Despite his intelligence, he had never learned how to manage his time or take responsibility for his future. Everything had seemed so easy before, but now the reality of his choices was catching up to him. That night, feeling lost and uncertain, Arjun went to speak with his grandfather, a man known for his wisdom. Arjun hoped that his grandfather might help him understand where he had gone wrong, and more importantly, how to make things right. This moment marked the beginning of a turning point in Arjun's life. That night, burdened with disappointment and regret, Arjun sat quietly beside his grandfather. His grandfather was one of the wisest and most respected elders in the village, a man who had guided many people through difficult times. Arjun, unsure of what to do, turned to him with a heavy heart. "Grandpa," Arjun began, "I don't understand why I failed this time. I've always been a good student. Why did everything go so wrong?" His grandfather looked at him kindly and listened without interrupting. After a few moments of silence, he said gently, "Son, the problem is not that you're not smart. You are. The problem is that you've taken time for granted." Arjun looked puzzled. "But Grandpa," he replied, "we always have time, don't we? I can always use it later. What's the hurry?" His grandfather's expression turned serious. He leaned closer and said, "No, Arjun. Time is like the flowing water of a river. Once it passes, it never comes back. You can't store it, borrow it, or rewind it. Every moment that slips away is gone forever." Seeing Arjun's confusion, his grandfather decided to tell him a story to help him understand better. "Let me tell you about a great king named Vikram," he said. "He had everything: wealth, power, palaces, and servants. But he too wasted his time. He always said, 'I'll do it tomorrow,' just like you." As Arjun listened closely, the old man continued. "One day, a wise sage warned King Vikram that time was his most precious treasure. But the king laughed and ignored the advice, believing he had endless time. Years passed, and the king lost everything. By the time he realized his mistake, it was too late. He couldn't turn back the clock." Arjun sat in deep thought. For the first time, the idea that time could run out felt real. His grandfather placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "It's not too late for you, Arjun, but you must start now." This conversation became a powerful lesson, one that would change Arjun's life forever. Seeing that Arjun was truly listening, his grandfather leaned back and began telling the story of King Vikram, a tale that held a deep lesson about time. "A long time ago," his grandfather began, "there was a powerful and wealthy king named Vikram. He ruled over a vast kingdom filled with riches, magnificent palaces, and loyal servants. People admired him for his power and envied his luxurious life. But there was one serious flaw in King Vikram's character. He constantly wasted time. Instead of waking up early and managing his kingdom, the king preferred to sleep in. He spent his days entertaining guests, attending grand feasts, and chatting with friends. Whenever a task or responsibility came up, his response was always the same: 'I'll do it tomorrow.' His ministers grew concerned, but they feared confronting the king directly. One day, a wise sage visited the royal court. The sage had heard about King Vikram's greatness, but also about his careless habits. In the presence of all the ministers, the sage said, "Your Majesty, you possess everything a man could ever desire, but you are throwing away the most valuable treasure of all: time." The king laughed. "Time? I have plenty of time. Look at all I've accomplished. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want." But the sage replied calmly, "Your wealth, your power, even your health, all of it depends on how wisely you use your time. A man who disrespects time will one day find himself with nothing. Do not take time lightly, Your Majesty. It can bring even the greatest kings to their knees." Still, the king ignored the warning. He continued with his careless lifestyle, postponing responsibilities and believing there would always be more time. Years passed. The once mighty king grew old. His health began to fade. His soldiers, poorly managed, started losing battles. The kingdom's enemies grew stronger. His people lost faith in his leadership. Everything began to fall apart. Desperate to make things right, King Vikram searched for the sage who had once warned him. But the sage was gone, just like the years he had wasted. Alone and regretful, the king finally understood that all the wealth and power in the world could not buy back lost time. In the end, King Vikram learned the truth too late. Time is life's greatest treasure, and once it's gone, it can never be reclaimed. As his grandfather finished the story, Arjun sat in silence, absorbing every word. He finally understood the true cost of wasting time. The story of King Vikram left a deep impression on Arjun. He sat in silence for a long time, reflecting on everything his grandfather had told him. For the first time in his life, He truly understood the value of time, not just as a concept, but as a force that could either shape his future or destroy it. He realized how much of it he had wasted on things that didn't matter, thinking there would always be tomorrow. Turning to his grandfather, Arjun asked with a sense of urgency, "Grandpa, is it too late for me? Can I still change my life by using my time wisely?" His grandfather smiled warmly and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Of course, son," he said. "The wheel of time never stops, but every moment gives you a new chance. What matters is what you choose to do now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start today. If you use your time wisely from this moment forward, nothing can stop you from becoming who you are meant to be." Inspired by his grandfather's words, Arjun made a firm decision that night. He would no longer waste time. From the very next morning, he began to change his habits. He created a daily routine, waking up early, setting clear goals, and assigning time for each task. He limited his use of the phone, reduced time spent on distractions, and focused deeply on his studies. At first, the change wasn't easy. There were moments when old habits tempted him, but he kept reminding himself of the story of King Vikram and the wisdom of his grandfather. Slowly but surely, he began to see results. His grades improved, his confidence returned, and people around him noticed the difference. His teachers began praising him again, and even his friends admired his new discipline and focus. By the time the next exam came around, Arjun didn't just pass, he topped his class. The joy on his parents' faces when they saw his report card was unforgettable. But more importantly, Arjun felt proud of himself for turning his life around through effort, discipline, and respect for time. As years went by, Arjun continued to live by the same principles. He grew up to become a successful businessman, known not only for his achievements, but also for inspiring others, especially young people, to value time and use it wisely. He often shared the story of King Vikram and his own journey, hoping to guide others before it was too late. His life became a living example of one simple but powerful truth: using time wisely is the key to success.